This video reveals the most terrible historical events that have been silenced, challenging our understanding of humanity and highlighting how the omission of these stories affects our perception of the world. Number 1. The Voynich Manuscript. The Voynich Manuscript is a mysterious illustrated book, written in an unknown language or code that has baffled cryptographers since its discovery. It is believed to date from the 15th century, although the exact date and author are unknown. The manuscript is named after Wilfried Voynich, a Polish bookseller who acquired it in 1912. It consists of approximately 240 handwritten pages and is filled with drawings of plants, human figures, constellations, astronomical symbols, and indecipherable objects. Some theories believe it is a medical manual, a herbarium, a book of alchemy and spells, or even an elaborate hoax. However, none of these theories have been conclusively confirmed. Number 2. A historic pandemic, the Plague of Cipriano. During an excavation in Luxor between 1997 and 2012, evidence of the Plague of Cyprian, an ancient pandemic that affected the Roman Empire in the 3rd century AD, was found. This find, which included pottery and other artifacts, coincided with the outbreak of the plague in that period. The pandemic, named after Bishop Saint Cyprian, was documented in historical records and caused a large number of deaths in Rome between the years 251 and 266 AD. The discovery not only shed light on history, but also boosted research into infectious diseases such as hemorrhagic fevers such as Ebola, contributing to medical advancement. These findings, along with ancient Egyptian texts, have had a profound impact on education and science throughout history, demonstrating how the knowledge of past civilizations continues to influence our world today. Number 3. The Mummy of Atacama. In 2003, a mummified skeleton discovered in Chile's Atacama Desert baffled many due to its unusual appearance, which some compared to that of an alien. The skeleton, called Atta, was only 15 centimeters tall and had very strange features, such as a long skull and fewer ribs than normal. It was speculated that it could be an unknown primate or even an extraterrestrial life form. However, researchers conducted 5 years of genomic analysis and determined that Atta is human, likely a fetus with mutations linked to bone diseases. Genetic mutations explain Atta's bone and musculoskeletal deformities, such as scoliosis and dwarfism. Although some mutations are rare and never seen before, it is speculated that exposure to nitrates in the environment where it was found could have played a role in its formation. Number 4. In 1518, in the picturesque city of Strasbourg, a peculiar phenomenon known as the dancing plague arose. A woman named Mrs. Troppa left her house and started dancing in the street. What started as a solo performance turned into a strange spectacle, with more people joining the contagious dance fever. The authorities, bewildered and concerned, tried various unconventional treatments, such as housing those affected in a building with live music, but the dancing persisted. Finally, they decided to take the dancers out of the city, a drastic measure that miraculously stopped the spread of the strange disease. This phenomenon was not unique, as similar outbreaks were documented in the 14th century in France, in the 15th century in Belgium, and in the 19th century in Madagascar. Although several theories have been proposed, the exact cause of this mysterious dance, which could be related to food poisoning from a fungus called ergot, remains an enigma to scientists. Number 5. There is a widespread misconception about the height of Napoleon Bonaparte, the famous French emperor. Many believe that he was short, around 5 feet 2 inches, but this idea is based on a misunderstanding. The confusion arose because the measurement was originally recorded in French feet, which turned out to be longer than English feet. When converted to the English system, Napoleon's true height was around 5 feet 7 inches, actually above the average height of men in France in his time. The misinterpretation was further complicated by British cartoons that exaggerated his short stature, perpetuating the misconception. This common misconception about Napoleon's height highlights how prejudices and errors can become embedded in our historical narratives, underscoring the importance of questioning popular beliefs and delving into historical accounts to uncover the truth behind seemingly trivial details. Number 6. The Roman dodecahedra. Roman dodecahedra are mysterious and enigmatic metal objects dating back to the time of the Roman Empire. These are small geometric artifacts, generally made of bronze, that have the shape of a dodecahedron, that is, a polyhedron with 12 faces. These objects were first discovered in different places in Europe, from England to Hungary. Although their exact purpose remains a mystery, around 150 of these dodecahedra have been found in various locations. Theories range from the fact that they refer to the signs of the zodiac to the fact that they were weapons or religious symbols. Number 7. Details of the construction of the Great Pyramid. In 2013, French and Egyptian archaeologists made an important find in a cave in Wadi El Hol, an ancient Red Sea port. They found hundreds of fragments of inscribed papyri that turned out to be the oldest found in Egypt. These papyri included a record of the 27th year of Pharaoh Khufu's reign, detailing the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza. The record, written in hieroglyphics by Meyer, an inspector, was more than 4,500 years old. Meyer carefully documented the construction operations and the transportation of shipped limestones across the Nile River. He also mentioned that Anj, Khufu's half-brother, supervised the project. Other records detailed projects such as the construction of a port in the Mediterranean Sea. These papyri are solid evidence that the construction of the pyramids was the work of humans and not aliens. Number 8. Volgograd discs. In 2015, a team of Russian researchers announced the discovery of several stone discs in the Volgograd region of Russia, one of them being much larger than the others. These discs, according to researchers, contain tungsten, a high-density metal used in military technology. The origin and purpose of these discs remains a mystery. In addition, there was speculation about their possible extraterrestrial origin, suggesting that they could be damaged ships that fell to Earth, while some skeptics believe that they could simply be rocks with curious shapes due to erosion. Number 9. Cleopatra, the last ruler of ancient Egypt, is often portrayed as a captivating Egyptian queen, but her lineage has Macedonian Greek roots, linking it to Ptolemy, a general in the ranks of Alexander the Great. Although her ancestry is not Egyptian, Cleopatra stands out for embracing Egyptian culture, even delving into learning the language. Her ability to merge her Greek heritage with Egyptian traditions adds complexity to her historical figure, highlighting how she navigated cultural boundaries. Cleopatra thus becomes a fascinating example of multifaceted cultural identity in history, leaving an indelible mark on the historical landscape. Number 10. European underground tunnels. The European underground tunnels, known as Erdstall, constitute an enigmatic network of passages that dates back some 12,000 years, during the Stone Age. They extend across the continent, from Scotland to Turkey, and it is estimated that there are thousands of them. Most are narrow, barely 70 centimeters in diameter. Although few formal studies have been conducted, it is speculated that they may have served as shelters or safe travel routes. The fact that there is no definitive explanation for why cavemen built this network of tunnels and how they did it has led to them being considered Europe's last great mystery. Some believe they were built by underground civilizations, while others say they could have been used as protection against predators or as safe communication routes for people of that time. Number 11. The Statue of Liberty, an iconic symbol of freedom in the harbor, is commonly associated with immigration due to its location near Ellis Island, historic for immigrants. However, its origins tell a different story. Initially conceived to embody the spirit of the Enlightenment, it carries a torch symbolizing the illumination of knowledge and a tablet marking the date of American independence. This gift from France commemorates the centenary of independence and strengthens the friendship between the two nations. The connection between freedom and migration deepened when Emma Lazarus wrote a poem that sits on the statue's pedestal. Liberty became the protective mother of the exiles, expanding the narrative beyond symbolism. This exploration of the statue's history reminds us that our historical perception can be shaped by misconceptions and urges us to approach historical narratives with a discerning eye that recognizes their intricate layers. Number 12. The Plain of Jars. In Laos, the Plain of Jars is an archaeological site full of mystery, where large stone vases, dated between the 6th century BC and the 9th AD, are scattered across the terrain. Although its original purpose is uncertain, several theories have been proposed, from funerary use to water collection for commercial caravans. Some believe in mythological legends about a town of giants, while others suggest that they could have been used as crematory ovens or to make molds. Furthermore, the presence of human remains in tools in some jars supports the funerary theory, but much remains to be discovered. Number 13. The funerary temple of Queen Nut, located near the pyramid of her husband, Pharaoh Tet, who ruled from 2323 to 2291 BC, is made of stone and has mud brick warehouses where offerings were kept to honor Queen Nut and Pharaoh Tet. Burial pits were also found near the pyramid with remains of people from the 18th and 19th dynasties. In one of the pits, a 13-meter scroll with chapter 17 of the Book of the Dead, an ancient manual for the afterlife, was found. In addition, funerary masks, a sanctuary dedicated to Anubis and statues of this god were discovered. Ancient games were also found, probably intended for the deceased in the afterlife. Researchers are studying the newly found Chapter 17 to see if it follows the same question and answer format as other copies of the Book of the Dead. Number 14. Angkor Wat, in Cambodia, is a monumental religious structure with more than 1,000 buildings on an area of 160 hectares. It is one of the largest temples in the world, built in honor of the Hindu gods Shiva, Brahma, and Vishnu. It represents a recreation of the Hindu universe with 5 sandstone towers that symbolize the peaks of Mount Meru, surrounded by a large moat. Angkor Wat was part of a hydraulic city with an elaborate water management network that guaranteed year-round supply for the population, agriculture, and livestock. However, in the late 14th century and early 15th century, prolonged rains followed by intense droughts affected the water management network, causing its destruction and contributing to the decline of the empire. Number 15. George Washington's story goes beyond his renowned prowess as the inaugural leader of the United States. Although he is a supreme emblem of American identity, there is a lesser-known chapter on his dental health. In his early adulthood, at age 20, Washington faced a mysterious condition that caused him to lose his teeth one by one. When he became president in 1789, he had only one tooth left. Recognizing the importance of his appearance, Washington consulted Dr. John Crew, a pioneer in dentistry. Contrary to popular belief that Washington's dentures were made of wood, Crew created them using hippopotamus bones, elephant bones, ivory, and even human bones anchored by a gold plate. These custom dentures allowed Washington to articulate his speeches with confidence. Today, replicas of his dentures are displayed in museums in Baltimore and New York, tangibly connecting the past and present. Number 16. Sri Lanka map. In Sri Lanka there is a park called Ranmasuyana that has an ancient map carved into a rock. This map, made around 250 BC, is called Sequala Chakraya, which means cycle of the universe, and experts do not know who made it or what it is for. Some think it is an ancient map of the world based on Buddhist beliefs about the universe, and others believe it could be a kind of door to other places in the universe. However, the most accepted idea is that it is an early map of the world. Although the people of Sri Lanka at that time had a good knowledge about the universe and the stars, it is still not known exactly what this map was used for. Number 17. The Romans accomplished something remarkable in their time with their complex system of aqueducts and plumbing. Although it was not an original invention, it was perfected and became an outstanding feat of engineering. They built extensive systems of lead and clay pipes, sewers, and aqueducts noted for their engineering prowess, recognized for their contributions to public health and sanitation. The Romans pioneered sophisticated systems. Their advanced plumbing is reflected in monumental aqueducts designed to carry water long distances to cities. Rome, for example, depended on 11 aqueducts to supply water to public baths, fountains, and homes, maintaining a crucial role in public sanitation. They also created sewage systems, including the famous Cloaca Maxima, one of the oldest in the world. Despite these achievements, they knowingly used lead pipes, evidencing a misunderstanding of the health risks. This use could have contributed to lead poisoning, and some speculate its connection to the decline of the Roman Empire. The unintended consequences of lead pipes serve as a lesson in the importance of considering potential downsides to technological progress. Number 18. The Sibiu Manuscript. In 1961, a professor at the University of Bucharest found a 450-page ancient manuscript in the archives of Sibiu, Romania. This document, known as the Sibiu Manuscript, was written between 1550 and 1570 by Conrad Haas, a military engineer of the Kingdom of Hungary and the Principality of Transylvania. Strangest of all, Haas described in detail multi-stage rocket technology, combined weapons with fireworks, and other advances such as liquid fuel. It is believed that some of his designs may have been tested, but there is no documentary evidence of this. Haas is credited with being one of the first to theorize multi-stage rockets before Johann Schmidlapp experimented with them in 1590. Number 19. Ancient portraits in a cemetery in the historic city of Philadelphia, Egypt. Archaeologists have unearthed ancient mummies. Philadelphia originated in Ptolemaic times, when Egypt was under the rule of the dynasty of pharaohs, descendants of one of Alexander the Great's generals. Despite the changes in power, the city continued to prosper. Recent excavations at the Philadelphia Cemetery have revealed 2 completely intact mummy portraits, along with some partially complete and incomplete ones. These portraits were expensive and realistic, indicating that the people buried here probably belonged to the upper middle class or elite of the time. They were created by artists from Alexandria. This finding highlights the similarities in shared experiences over time, connecting us to our ancestors. Number 20. The Wedge of Aid. About 50 years ago, a group of miners found an object so strange that many have come to believe it came from outer space. It was discovered on the banks of the Mureș River, in Iași, Romania, when miners were looking for something completely different, 2 mastodon bones. But that was not all. More than 35 feet deep they found an object with no date, no purpose, no clear explanation, and no apparent function. It was called the Iași aluminum object or wedge. The fact that the Iași wedge lacks antiquity and purpose makes it very confusing. Its location is also very strange, since it is unlikely to discover an object made of newly discovered materials among the bones of a beast that became extinct 11,700 years ago. To further complicate matters, this object was covered in patina, a coating that takes thousands of years to develop. Furthermore, this object could also pass as modern, since it is made of a material that is indistinguishable from today's aluminum, something that should not have existed 11,000 years ago. The location and dates surrounding this object don't add up, and its shape doesn't seem to serve any apparent purpose either. It is suspected to have extraterrestrial origin, but there is no valid theory.